Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Candice and I'm here to help you understand and manage your ADHD brain. Welcome back. It is December, the Christmas season, Christmas time. I love this time of the year. I'm a fan. I love watching Christmas movies, going to Christmas markets, the snow, everything. I think I'm a winter girl and yeah. I love the season. Why am I making this video though, you might ask yourself? Well, because I noticed recently that the Christmas season comes with a few struggles for people who have ADHD. You know, organizing your trip back home if, like me, you live away from your parents now. Just making plans, organizing gift giving, like buying gifts, budgeting, everything. It's a lot for anyone and a bit more of a struggle maybe for someone who has ADHD. So I wanted to share 3 things that I think are affected by ADHD during Christmas time. If anyone is wondering about this weird fuzzy ball, this is simply my microphone. I'm holding it there because there's some echo. So let's get on with this video. So I think the first thing that is affected by ADHD during Christmas season is the organization and the planning that you have to do in order to meet with your family and celebrate together. I think it is a very basic thing that everyone needs to do around Christmas time. If you want to spend time with your family and you don't live in the same town or even the same country, you need to, make plans on when are you coming home, how much time will you be spending? Where will you be sleeping? Are you spending it with your partner? Are you not? When are you meeting again with your partner? If you need to drive or take the train back home or book flights, there's a lot of planning involved in Christmas time, and usually it comes in a few months before. And for someone who has ADHD, personally, I know it's a bit taxing to organize all those stuff. I know every time I make a trip, actually, it's a lot of things going on in my head, and it's hard to book the tickets, plan. It's just I wait until the last minute, and when I have this rush of adrenaline, like, oh my god, the tickets are going to be so expensive. Let's book them now. I do it. But yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, and I think I noticed this a few days ago when I was very involved for a whole day and stressed out about when I was going to see my family. And because me and my brother live, we don't live anymore at our parents' place, we need to coordinate and make sure we're all there together and we can celebrate together and, take into account other people from our family that are invited, and like when should they come, and like when should we do dinner and lunch for Christmas. It's this whole organization, I realized a few days ago, is quite stressful, and I hadn't thought about the effect of ADHD on those plans until recently. So I thought this is kind of where I got the idea for the video, and I wanted to chat with you a bit more informally about what it's like to go through Christmas season having ADHD, especially if you've just been diagnosed. I know that must be a weird time around this time of the year. I'll talk about it later in the video, but I'm going to talk about emotional reactivity and interpersonal relationships, and how all the interactions at Christmas can be also a challenge for someone who has ADHD. So stick around if you want to hear about that part. So the first thing I mentioned is organization and planning. And this heavily impacts the second aspect of Christmas time and ADHD, and this is gifts. Organizing, gift giving, I don't know how you say exactly, is it gift giving? Just making people gifts, going to buy gifts, thinking about what does this person want and where can I get it? When can I get it? How much is this going to cost me? I think that's the biggest trouble of Christmas time, is budgeting. I personally suck at budgeting like all year round, but when it comes to Christmas, I know it brings on an extra stress on me because I don't really have a good track record of spending, and spending on gifts can be... So if you have ADHD like me, maybe you know what I'm talking about. It's like when you spend, you kind of know what you have in your wallet, but in your let's say in your bank account. But at the same time, you don't. It's like you spend let's say $50 on something, and you knew approximately what you had before that. But then you don't take into account like the coffee you just bought on the way to the shop and the thing you have to pay tomorrow to go to, I don't know, like you're going to a restaurant with your friends. And so you don't really pay attention to all the little spendings that surround the gifts. And you kind of end up spending way too much and then finishing the month realizing that you spent way too much. So some of you will tell me that's not really budgeting, that's just spending and not thinking about how you spend. And I agree. So I guess budgeting would be setting yourself a limit and at the beginning of the month, planning out who you're going to give gifts to, where you're going to get them, and when you're going to get them. That's personally something I've never done. So I'm actually surprising myself with this gift, with this tip that I'm probably going to use for myself. So probably have a table somewhere where I will write all the names of the people I need to give gifts to this year, my budget, depending on what I have in my bank account, and like how much I want to give to each person. I don't know if that sounds weird, but yeah, basically budgeting and then, writing down ideas and then when and where I'm going to get them. This can sound very basic. I don't know if that's like non-useful advice. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if that makes sense to you. If you do buy your gifts without thinking and then you end up struggling at the end of the month, or if you already do that, like planning out the gifts, I'm definitely going to try this year. I think it's going to bring my stress level down a little bit. So that was the second thing that is affected by ADHD. It's gift giving and budgeting. It can be a stress from like the 1st of November until the 25th. That was the second thing that can be heavily affected by ADHD. And in addition to the struggle of budgeting, there's also sometimes the shame and the guilt if you don't end up buying what you want at the right time, or if you end up going to the stores very, very late before Christmas. There's this shame of, oh my God, I always do this every year. I don't plan ahead. I end up just going to buy things like the day before Christmas. There's nothing left, so I don't have any choice. So then I buy something that I didn't really want to buy for this person. And maybe she's not going to like it. And I'm a terrible person because I didn't think this through. I've known this feeling for a very long time. And I think I have it every Christmas. So if I can give you one tip that I would give myself right now, it would be to be easy on yourself. A lot of people do that actually, even if they have ADHD or not, just they don't really plan ahead and we end up going to the stores late and, giving gifts last minute. But at least, if you go and buy a gift, even if it's the day before Christmas, you are actually spending time and energy for this person. And even if you didn't manage to plan this ahead and go very early and buy your gifts on Black Friday, like the people who are super organized do, it's okay. Like they're going to end up having gifts. If they don't, I'm sure you're going to find something very creative to make up for it, or like offer them a gift that's going to come later, or maybe order something online. Either way, give yourself a break. It's hard enough having all this planning and organizing and running around to do, so you don't have to be perfect at it. So I think the number 3 thing that can be affected by ADHD around Christmas time is interactions with family and loved ones, and more generally, emotional reactions around that. So if you're like me, you're probably someone who has a lot of emotional reactivity or sensitivity to rejection overall, and those things can be very heavily linked to ADHD. And I've noticed that around Christmas time, because I'm so emotional and so hyped up for Christmas, I express those emotions and I'm very passionate and I love seeing my family. I'm lucky enough to have a family that I love going back to every Christmas, but those strong emotions can sometimes clash with the people around me. There's one instance of those kind of conflicts between me and my emotions and the people around me is when I do feel those emotions very strongly. So I have very overly positive emotions around Christmas and I'm so hyper, I'm so, just enjoying the moment, but to a very high level, because that's what we do when we have ADHD. We experience emotions like 10 times more intensely sometimes that people around us. And so because I'm super hyper about everything, if I see someone who's not as hyped as I am about Christmas, I can take it about Christmas, about like just, meeting together at the family, like gathering and stuff. Sometimes I can take it personally, and I realize, when I do this can cause conflict with my family, because I take something that's not aimed at me, or it's just that, for example, my brother and I, we function very differently. So if he's not as hyped as I am about Christmas, that doesn't mean he doesn't enjoy Christmas as much as I do, or that he's not happy to see me or see my family. But sometimes, because I have such strong emotions, I can think like, wait, like they don't have as strong of emotions as I do, so that must mean something is wrong and they're not enjoying it as much as I am. And it's not true. So that's something really useful to keep in mind when you go back to your family, or you spend Christmas wherever you are, and you're with people. It's just reminding yourself that not everyone experiences the same Christmas. Not everyone has the same strong emotions about food, gifts, music, just the whole vibe around Christmas. I think I'm very, very passionate about this, and I'm conscious of it. And my family sometimes makes fun of me because I'm so like into it. And I think accepting that they're not like me helps me a lot to appreciate the moments with them, and appreciate them just as they are, and allow myself to be myself. So that's, I think, a really strong ADHD Christmas link that I made like recently. And I think another thing, as I said, is the reactions to gifts or music, or like your surroundings around Christmas. Christmas can be like a very intense time in terms of, first of all, in terms of how much you eat, how much you spend, how much it's a lot of everything, I think. And it can be a bit overwhelming for anyone, as I always like to say, for anyone, but especially for someone who has ADHD. And this is good to keep in mind as well. I think I just realized this recently, as I said, that those aspects that are affected by ADHD are going to come into play when I go back home. And just being aware of this, I think, is going to make it easier. So when I notice that I've been around family for 3 hours, I'm getting tired of all the talks and all the stimuli around me, I think if I want to take a break, go into my room and rest, or like, do something else, go outside, take a walk, I think I'm going to allow myself to do that, and to break out from the Christmas spirit for a bit, and just from everyone else, and do my thing. If I know it's good for me, then I think I will allow myself to do that now. And then you should too, if that's something that happens to you. Another thing, last thing about interactions with family and people around Christmas time are discussions at the dinner table, or like any political discussion, any very opinionated discussion. I know that for me it's very difficult to get into one of them, because I'm so determined to be right, and I hate having to prove something to someone. I think I get so emotional and serious about it that overall in the past few years, I've completely stopped interacting with people about political stuff or anything that can get very polarized, because I feel like it will get to me, and it will kind of bring my mood down a bit if I get too involved. So for example, if, I don't know, an uncle brings out like, oh, elections, like, what do you think about it? I'll basically just leave the room, or like kind of shut it down and talk to someone else, because I don't want to get too involved. And I know the risk of emotionally reacting to something not very serious. So I think I take this very seriously now, because I know how much it can hurt someone, or how much it can eat at a relationship I have if I just react a certain way to a simple discussion. So because I know I'm very sensitive to that, I I started, you know, staying out of it basically. So if you're very sensitive to those kinds of discussions and you know you tend to react heavily and like react impulsively or just emotionally react to them, maybe steer out of them and stay on happy topics and things that you know, you want to talk about, things you're excited about. That's kind of what I tend to turn the discussion towards when those political polarized subjects come up. I love talking more about like what I'm passionate about, what people are passionate about. Really like positive, looking to the future things rather than ruminating on current events or past events. So I hope those tips were helpful. I mean, I don't really if they were tips or just me chatting freely with you. I think this video is going to be a bit less structured than other ones you might have seen on my channel, but I'm kind of trying out different formats, and I'm also trying to make one video every week. So this is why formats are going to change a bit, and I'm trying things out. I really want to know how you liked this video. Please let me know down in the comments. Please share it with your loved ones for the Christmas season, if you want, and if they want to learn a bit about why Christmas time might be difficult for you. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.